What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon. Hey, it's April. It's what date is it? April 28th, 2026. Appreciate you guys joining. Here live on YouTube as well as we're recording this. So if you're listening to this later, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you could do me a quick favor, hit the like and follow button or put us a 5-star review. You don't have to put a comment or anything. Just put it at the top. Somebody went in there and put a 1-star review. I don't look them very much, but they came and said, hey, somebody put a 1-star review just to be a jerk, I guess. But anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I got to move this over to this computer screen because I cannot see it. Hold on just a second. It's a little technical difficulty on mine. I've got it on my big screen, but I got my camera on the small screen. So, yeah, now we can see it better. Now I can see all my things. Okay, that's just on my end. Folks, welcome. If you're listening via YouTube or whatever, thank you. Folks, I hope you're having a great 2026. I really do. I hope you are because I have probably the weirdest year so far in my comedy career. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Andy Gunnan. I'm a full-time touring comedian. I do shows all over the country, full-time, as well as work on TV and movies here in Atlanta. I'm in a lot of shows. Got a bunch of cool things that happened this year, in the last year, beginning this year. But we'll just jump right into it, man. It has been nutty out there. I'm going to tell you what, it's rainy here today, but it's nutty out there in the comedy world. You know, we've gone from 2020 to being an amazing comedy boom because everybody went from being locked up into finding humor on Netflix and different shows to, man, gas prices have shot through the roof. Food, everything else. And we've got comedy clubs closing left and right. We've got comedy clubs opening. We've got places doing comedy left and right that have never done comedy. So we've got this big hodgepodge of whirlwind of out with the old, in with the new. We want it. We don't know what to do, if that makes any sense at all. And, I do a lot of bar shows and I do very few club shows. I'm starting to do a lot more club shows as I've started featuring more and headlining more and featuring and touring with comedians. And that's the thing, man. It's getting really hard to get stage time because most headliners bring their own feature. And a lot of times they bring their own feature and their own host now. So developing to become a comedian is becoming harder and harder because the opportunities are less and less. The only opportunities you typically have at a club right now, unless you're touring with a headliner, is hosting. That's it. Unless you just magically get lucky and you're on the list to feature at a club and the headliner isn't bringing one. So, that happens. And, I had a comedian had a fallout this past week, but we'll get into that. I'm just going to tell you, right, man, I ended last year really good on a high note. Things went really well. I ended up on a great series that I really like. They shot season 4 of Tulsa King here in Atlanta, Georgia. I happened to get on that. I happened to get a actual role on that. It's going to be coming out in November. That's about all I can say about it. If you watch season 3, and if you haven't, go watch it. A character comes in named Quiet Ray, and I play his bodyguard this season on season 4 that's coming out. And that's as far as I'm going to go with it because I don't want to get in trouble, get blacklisted because they said, hey, don't talk about this on social media and all the different details or post pictures. So I'm not. So when it finally releases, I'll be able to kind of point pictures out and things like that. So ended the year great with that. They just wrapped it up. I thought I went back on it back in January for a couple more scenes and then jumped right back into comedy because comedy always takes off. Comedy season is typically January 3rd, 5th, all the way through till about now. And then it starts kind of slowing down the closer we get to graduation and summertime, which is fine. It's great. There's still shows. It's just crowds go less because people are on vacation. They're doing other things, and that happens. And I'm aware of that. But, man, January started off crazy. My brother-in-law blew himself up down in Austin, Texas. He was cleaning some gun parts with some acetone, a lighter or a flame flickered. He was indoors in his kitchen and it blew him up in his kitchen. Luckily, he survived and he had severe second-degree burns on 16% of his body, but he's fine. Only problem was burnt the kitchen out, smoked the house out. They didn't have renter's insurance. And man, luckily my background in restoration came in handy because I knew what to do. We were able to raise some money. I put a blast out there, just kind of was honest, like, hey, folks, if you can donate, great. The comedy community of comedians that I know stepped up in more ways than I could ever imagine. Comedians I've worked with, comedians I know, comedians I've only worked with a handful of times, even people that even know my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law were donating money, and we were able to raise enough money that I flew out to Austin, was able to get their stuff out, what we could salvage, clean it up, get them a storage unit, get them settled in. We spent every penny, helped them get the stuff cleaned out of the house because the landlord was like, get it out, this and that. So we raised 7 grand, we spent it all, and then they were left, unfortunately, with nothing to start over. But they're good because she's pregnant. So anyway, so they've got a new place. He's healing. They're fine. They're starting over. They got a new place. So everything's good. And I was just like, man. So I deal with all that. I help that. And then I'm jump back home and I'm back on the road every week. And then I get a call that my best friend from middle school and high school that I grew up with and played football with was in the hospital. I saw he had gone in the hospital and right at Christmas time, right before Christmas, for some stuff. He's been having some medical issues, so I really wasn't worried because it's a normal thing with him. And then I got a call, hey, your buddy Matt's really bad off. He's got pneumonia, and I was like, okay. And they go, no, he's dying. He's not going to make it. I was like, what? So I rushed to the hospital, see his parents who I haven't seen in years. I'm like, what's happening? They go, man, he got pneumonia. He got over it. He got pneumonia again. And now his body and organs are just shutting down. There's nothing nobody can do. And it was a really sad time. I was able to raise some money to help feed the family, took care of him. And, we talked. He passed away 2 weeks before his 50th birthday, which is very sad. But I'm at the age, I'm just getting older. I mean, the older you get, the more these things happen. And luckily I was able to find humor. I have a new bit out of it. I told his parents, I said, I'm going to do this bit and I hope y'all are okay. Cause we were in the middle of talking and they were talking about they're going to cremate him. And if I asked if I wanted a jar for his ashes, and I was like, no. And they're like, well, I said, no, I don't want any of his ashes. Like, what? I mean, it came off where I said, no. And then I said, what am I getting? They looked at me like I was crazy. Like, what am I getting? Am I getting a nose, a finger? I don't want to know that I got Matt's wiener in a bottle on my fireplace or my bedside table. And they just fell out laughing. And I said, that's funny. And they said, yeah. And I said, I'm going to say that on stage. If y'all don't care, they go, no. And so now it's a new bit. I've been doing it. Did it this weekend at the Funny Farm in Ohio. People liked it. There's more parts to it, so you got to come see a show to get the whole thing. So, I try to find humor in everything. And then it's just been a whirlwind of shows. I've had a lot of great shows. I had some amazing shows out in Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, the people out there were so amazing. It was a great experience out there in Oklahoma in January. We had 4 shows scheduled. We only did 3 because the Friday late show didn't really sell a whole lot of tickets, so we canceled that. But we had 3 great shows. The people showed up, showed out. Thank you, everybody. In Woodward. Y'all showed me some great love. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to come back out there again one day. They have a great place. And then from there, it was just great shows, one after the other. I went back to Rocky Gap Casino with my buddy Dougie for Bongers at Rocky Gap Casino. I hadn't been out there in 3 years. I featured out there 3 years ago. We had a great show there. It was fun. Enjoyed it. And I've just been bouncing around. I've headlined at Crackpots a few times. Matter of fact, going back up to Crackpots this weekend for their first comedy festival that's being hosted there in town, the Lincoln Highway Comedy Festival. I'm not performing in it. I'm actually presenting. I'm talking to comedians. Talking to comedians about merch, how to start your own merch, how to develop your own merch, to cut the middleman out and make money, because you literally have to have merch to make money. And people are coming to shows, but prices are going up on everything. And now I was traveling all over before gas went to $4. It's now $4 a gallon. So now I'm looking at things like, man, can I afford to go to all these places I've been going? And I'm looking at it, because I drive a lot. And I was like, no. And I'm starting to fly a lot because I found some really good deals. Delta's got some really good, cheap programs right now. And I'm able to fly up. Matter of fact, I was just in Cleveland. I flew up to Cleveland this past weekend, did the funny for him, came back. Flew up there, $149 round trip. I've got another plane ticket. I'm flying up there this weekend, back to Cleveland, $149 round trip. Then I'm flying next weekend back to Cleveland because I'm doing some shows in PA for Slapsticks Productions, doing a fundraiser show I got booked for that I featured for a year or two ago. And then they called and they said they wanted me back. They wanted me to headline. So I'm going up there to do that. It's for a PTO fundraiser. And then I'm doing another show on Friday. I haven't got the info on that. So I'm flying back up to Cleveland. I'm flying up to Cleveland 3 weeks in a row because it's so cheap. And then I'm renting a car going back and forth. So trying to find ways to make everything work, because even it's not now that I've been headlining, get headlining money, which is more than feature. It's now being ripped out of my hands by gas and travel. So you've got to have merch, man. You got to. And I'm going to be teaching and showing folks not only how to design merch, show merch that sells, design merch that's funny, that connects with the audiences, and that can make you money. Now, with that said, doesn't mean you're going to sell stuff every time. Doesn't mean you're going to make enough money. I lost money a couple of weeks in a row on the road because I didn't sell any merch. I had great shows. I had a show where I had 100 people. The show was great. The audience was awesome. I got some great clips out of it. I think I sold one shirt. That happens. And that hurts because you rely on that merch to make back up the travel money. And when it doesn't, that's a hard pill to swallow, man. So anyway, so I'm talking about all that stuff, the Lincoln Hawaii Comedy Festival, because I was taught early on by the amazing Jonathan. And when he sat in a room with me in September of 2021, about, I don't know, 2 months before he died, and he goes, who's got merch? And only a handful of people raised their hand. And there was like 20 of his comics in there. And he said, if you don't have merch, you've already lost the game. He talked about how much merch he sold with his residencies, how much, he was if he didn't, because he put some of that in a Roth IRA to save, he would have never had medical coverage for all his heart problems and all that. And right now, every community's got to have merch to sell stuff. And folks, if you go to a comedy show, please buy merch. Please buy merch. Buy a shirt, buy a hat, throw an extra 10, 15 bucks if you can. If you can't, great. You came out, you drank, you ate, you supported the club, which can keep the clubs alive, because a lot of clubs are on life support right now. A lot of clubs are folding, going under, that have been around, staples in the comedy community. A couple of them in Ohio, one in Ohio. I think it's called Funny Stop. I didn't get a chance to perform there. It's been there for 30 plus years. It developed and hosted comedians that are still touring today, 30 years later, to newer comedians, and now they're gone. The Caravan Comedy Club is folding up in Kentucky. I featured there. I did my first full feature weekend in a comedy club there. Katrina Brown took me. Thank you, darling. I had a great weekend, and now they're closing. And they've been around since the 80s. I mean, of course, it's not the same owners. It's another owner, but it's, a big deal. And now I'm reading, a couple places are opening, new comedy clubs are opening up by comedians, which I hope they do well. I don't wish anybody any bad luck. I opening something right now like that is a big endeavor with an uncertainty of what's going on in the world and people being able to spend extra money. And that's why my schedule, man, it looks really sparse this summer. And it typically is sparse. And I don't lean into a lot of shows during the summer. I do take them. I avoid the July 4th because nobody will come out. I take that week or two off. Typically, like I take Christmas off to be with my family. Because that's more important to me than, and then unless there's a show that has some comments, that has a paycheck with comments in it. But it's just been crazy, man. It's been crazy. But another thing why I jumped on this, because, man, I've seen the numbers. This podcast has blown me away. I pay money to keep it up. Now, I don't do enough podcast episodes, and I get it, and I need to do more, and that's why I'm here to apologize, and I thank everybody. I've seen weeks where we're getting 300 views all over the world. from Thailand to Switzerland. We're picking up folks. So thank you. And we're going to talk about more topical subjects. I'm going to have more guests on. I've got a few guests kind of lined up. I need to hammer down on dates and do some interviews and some fun stuff. I've done a couple of podcasts. I've been on a couple of podcasts here lately. Been asked, which is great. Intrusive Thoughts. Go check them out. I just did Funny Stop's first podcast at the Comedy Club this past weekend. I was their first guest and first one. I don't know when they're going to release that. We went live on their page, and then I think they're going to post it at some point. And I thought about backing away from bar shows. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of these bar shows are one-nighters. And unless you can string a couple of them together and make it work, it's getting really tough because people are coming out to the shows. But with gas prices and where you've got to travel to go to some of these shows is really difficult. And a lot of bars are having difficulty selling tickets. And the ones that are selling tickets and doing well, it's great. But the amount of distance you've got to go for some of these shows is, for a one-night show, which I used to do them all the time, and I was able to string them together. It's getting harder and harder to string them together, where I can go here, 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 and here. And with the cost of price of everything, I went in debt last year a little bit because I was going to these shows and people weren't buying merch because people just stopped spending extra money. We had great shows, amazing shows, got great reviews. I'm getting great reviews. It's not that we're having bad shows. It's just people are tight with money. And I totally get it. I like me and my wife, we've overhauled the bills 2 or 3 times. We found an extra $304 a month. We just paid off a couple of cars. We're like, hey, one of the cars has kind of got a few issues. I just dropped it off at a mechanic, said, fix it. I know it's going to cost a couple of grand. I'd rather pay you a couple of grand than jump back into a car note. So it's hitting everybody. So this is me not bitching or complaining. This is just me saying, man, please go support comedy. Please go out. If you're thinking about going out and doing anything, go to a comedy show. Please, 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 please. You'll have more fun than anything. But, and I promise you, whether the show's good or bad, and typically there's very little bad shows. Bad shows are fun just as well as good shows. They're interesting. And it's getting harder because now I'm seeing a bigger picture, which I've been talking about, is that if you're an unknown comedian like myself, now I'm known in kind of the comedy world. I'm known in the comedy world. I've developed a book of business where folks know me from clean to PG-18, so meaning I can do clean PTO fundraiser shows to bar shows without being too blue, graphic, or being considered a dirty comic. And I've developed that because of a couple of things. I'm trying to get on some cruise lines, and you've got to have a G set, a PG set, a PG-13 set, and a complete R set. And they all have to be totally different. So I've been developing those so I can go get extra work to make extra money, which I have yet to be able to accomplish, but we're working on it. So with that said, it's getting harder to get people to come see a show of unknown comics. Now, look, if you see somebody at a comedy club, and you're like, man, I don't know who that is. The comedy club is saying they know they're funny and giving them a chance and opportunity. So please buy a ticket to go see that person. And if you're waiting for Louis C.K., if you're waiting for Chappelle, if you're waiting for Jeff Foxworthy, that's fine. You're going to pay $50 a ticket. But some of those guys come once every now and then. And some of those guys are going to theaters because they can pack a theater out and they can make more money in one night than they can a whole club. Guys like myself, other comedians that I work with that we're not world or nationally known yet, we need you to come out and support. Buy a ticket because the comedy clubs need to stay in business. And if a comedy club near you say they're struggling and they're offering half off tickets or whatever, it's because they're trying to get people in there to buy drinks and buy food, and for you to experience us as a comedian, to get to know us, to help us grow, but help keep the comedy club. Now, if you've got a comedy club down the road and you haven't been going, and they throw out those half off tickets or buy one get one, and you're not taking advantage, at least going throwing buying a $25 ticket, buy one get one, and spending $30-$40 on some beers and some food, nachos, and watching the comedy show, that place is going to go out of business. And you'll never have a Louis C.K. there. You'll never have a Jeff Foxworthy there. You'll never have me if I ever get big. You'll never have anybody because that place will be gone. And then it'll be a theater down the road where you're going to pay more with no waitress, no bar service other than you got to get up and go get a drink and go back and forth. No nachos, nothing like that. So the comedy club experience of having a waitress come and bring you nachos and cheese sticks and food and snacks and drinks is going to go away if you go to a theater. You better have eaten before you came. You better grab a couple beers at the bar before you walk in and sit down because you're about to sit down for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And that's it. I'm not against theater shows. I'm not. I've been to them to watch fellow comedians. But the comedy club experience is better than in a theater. But some theater shows are great. And I'm not dismissing them. I'm not saying I'm never going to do them one day. I hope to do them one day. I hope I become popular and big enough one day to do them. But my plea to the world is go see a show. Go support your local comedy show clubs. Because the fewer comedy clubs there are, the fewer working comics like myself and bigger comedians can go to come so you can come see shows. That's the bottom line. And I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but back to me. So I've had a great time. I've been doing some more club shows. Like I said, I'm getting away from so many bar shows. Unless I can string them together, I'll do bar shows. I love bar shows. That's how I've developed myself and developed my career. It's through bar shows and through Bar Comedy USA. Shout out to Jeremy Danley and Bar Comedy USA. I cannot thank them enough that we've had some great shows. We've had some weird squirrely shows. I've had some crazy stuff happen at some shows. From drunk people coming on stage and touching me to all kinds of other things. So, that's what you get in that. And then to where I've sold more merch than I could imagine and gotten more supporters than I could imagine. And there's some places that they don't have a comedy club, and the bars are the only place that can host a comedy show. And I will go back and do those time after time, and there's some great venues with some great owners and great places that are establishing a comedy club within the bar. And I can't thank them enough. And I will constantly go back and see them whenever they want because they are great folks and they get it and they understand and appreciate comedy. So, what I'm trying to do and what I've got to do now and what a lot of comedians have got to do now is be able to book shows where they're doing not just a Friday night bar show, but they're doing 3 or 4 shows a weekend to make sure they meet. And that's where I made the statement on the podcast I did with Funny Farm. I'm trying to find shows where I can either feature for a whole weekend or have multiple shows lined up, because it's getting harder and harder to do that because some of these places are stopping comedy because people aren't coming out. And now look, some of it is probably the venue not advertising correctly. If you're a venue thinking about doing comedy, whether you're a bar or whatever, you have to over advertise 100 times more than your karaoke night, your cornhole night, your Taco Tuesday night, everything that everybody knows you for. Because people don't trust comedy sometimes, especially if it's something new. They don't know who's coming because, you can't afford a Chappelle. You can't afford, a Rogan or Dusty Slay or whoever, because these guys demand an X amount now. And they can because they have X amount of followers. But they're sending you good comedians for that venue. So you have to over advertise because people forget about comedy. People just go, especially if you've not done it and haven't been doing it regularly, and you don't do it on a regular schedule, people forget. So you've got to establish a pattern. So you got to over advertise. So venues, if you book a comedy show, you have to not just put a poster on the urinal, a poster on the door, and 1 or 2 posts, because I go and look at every venue. And I'll do a promo video and send it to it. And if they don't use it and I see they've only posted 2 or 3 times, I know for a fact when I get there, it's going to be a low show. And that scares me. And that scares us comedians, because the more people we have, the more opportunity we have to sell merch to be able to cover our expenses and costs. Because whatever they're paying us, they typically don't give us a hotel. the travel to there is already spent. So whatever check we're getting, gas is already spent. That check's spent. All that check you're writing to comedian, it's going right back to replace the gas. And now we've got to sell stuff to either get a hotel, sleep in our car, or make money. And if we don't sell merch, make money. So we need numbers. Numbers equal opportunities, which equal sales, which equals pay, which equals us being able to keep doing this thing. And it's good for you. It's good for everybody. So anybody thinking about doing comedy, whether you're a bar, a VFW, whatever, I'll come do it. But you have got to over advertise. I mean, when I say over, like if the show's a month out, you start advertising every week, and then you start advertising 3 to 4 times a week, 3 weeks before the show. And then the week of the show, that is your whole onslaught. That is everything. Screw the pull day. You can post once about the karaoke, whatever, but you better, every other post behind that better be comedy. And because it has to be beat into people. And the folks that do that, it's very successful. The folks that don't do that, the shows are good. They just may not have as many people. And I'll do a show for 2 people to 100. And if I see you do everything right and it's just the people didn't come out, that's fine. It happens. So that's where I get into all this about stuff. So, and if you're listening to this overseas, same thing applies. Comedy is universal and all that. So anyways, we'll get off that. I've been on this for 30 minutes on a rant. It's just very passionate to me. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very scared and nervous for us because of the cost of everything. And when those costs start hitting people, it hits us everywhere. And we comedians, comedy shows are the first to feel it. Entertainment is the first to feel it in an economy. And right now we're doing okay because people have gotten their tax money. So they got a little extra money they're spending. Well, that money is going to go out around May. And my schedule's pretty full all the way up till after my stepdaughter's graduation and my birthday. And that's when it goes sparse. And people are spending money on vacation. Then it kicks back up in August. So I'm hoping things, shake out. But I'm starting to feature for some more headliners. So I'm getting multiple feature shows. So I'm looking at those and other things. I'm filming 2 new shows. One's about to wrap here with Netflix. Can't talk about it yet. And I just signed on to a new movie. It's a major movie. I can't talk about it. I'm working on it. I don't have a main part on it yet. But they're putting me in a few spots. Can't wait to talk about it. They're even shutting our phones down on set. So it's a pretty big deal. But I'm excited. I'm excited for that. But this stuff comes out next year. But what is coming out May 29th is Breadwinner with Breadwinner, the movie by Nate Bargatze, his first movie. I worked on it as a stand-in and a scene with Derek Stroop. I was Derek Stroop, the comedian Derek Stroop stand-in. So I can't wait for it to come out and see my name, stand in Derek, with my name, Derek Stroop, and my name. Met Derek, super nice guy. Met Nate, super nice guy. Met Will Forte, super nice guy. Had a great conversation with Will Forte. Unprovoked. He just started talking to me. If you remember, I've always loved him. I've always thought he was funny. Even when he was on SNL, I loved his MacGruber character. I thought that was great. I really enjoyed him, and he just grabbed me and said, "Hey," he just started talking to me. We had a great conversation on set. So I'm excited for that movie to drop May 29th. I'm not on screen, but I got paid to be on set and meet everybody. And so that's an experience that nobody can take away. And I've got a matter of fact, I've got the script right here. They're called sides and I had to learn the lines for Derek. So when I stood in, they could set up the cameras, the sound, we ran our lines, and then they came in and they filmed. That's what a stand-in is. So I'm continually doing that to try to make ends meet and money work. So that way I can afford to travel. So, follow me on Instagram, Andy Gunnan, andygunnan.com. Whether you're in Thailand, China, whatever, we'll talk more about other stuff. Now, I've had some crazy experiences I have filmed and recorded that I have got to upload. A lot of them are paranormal experience encounters. And I've got that I filmed in numerous places, Kentucky, Wyoming last year. Matter of fact, I need to get my buddy on here to talk about that because I brought the comedian, my feature. I was headlining a show, found this old bar, and man, let me tell you, I think I've talked about it on a previous podcast, but I've got the video. He and I are going to come on here and we're going to talk about it and we're going to walk through it all in our experience and things. Talk to us. There was a speakeasy in the basement with the original speakeasy walls and doors and tunnels and original newspapers from 1920 to 1923 on the walls. That was it blew my mind, but it was a great experience. I need to get Eric One Acre on here and so we can talk about it. And I'm excited about a lot of new opportunities. I'm not saying I'm not depressed or mad or upset. There are so many new things I'm doing this year. It's blowing my mind. I started headlining a lot more last year. I'm headlining more this year. I'm headlining and featuring back and forth a lot. So there's a blend. I'm getting a lot of more movie stuff that's coming back to Atlanta. So I'm working on a lot of cool stuff. I did do a scene with Sylvester Stallone. I did 2 scenes with Robert Davi and James Russo. I was so freaking overwhelmed. Can't wait for it drops, and we're going to talk more about it once it drops. And I can talk you through the scene. We can talk more about it and my freak out when I met Sylvester Stallone. I made him laugh by accident, but I made him laugh. It was a great experience. So good things, exciting things. I just wanted to get on here and thank everybody who's listened to the podcast, downloaded it. I'm blown away by the numbers. Am I getting any money for this? No. I would like to make enough money to get it monetized enough that I could cover the cost. Right now, the cost is I'm just paying for it out of pocket. I think I'm putting it on a credit card and hoping I can pay it off. So, thanks again. I'll have some more topics to talk about on the series. I just want to get on here and thank everybody and say, please, the first quarter of comedy has been nuts. It's been up and down, and I wanted to see it go more up than down or flat for the next quarter for everyone involved. So please, 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 if you can, starting now, May through the rest of the year, go do a show. Go to a show to comedians you don't know. Go to shows to comedians you do know. And that's the thing is you've got to become known, and people are going to spend money, but they got to know you. And I did a couple of shows here recently at Margaritaville, a retirement community, 55 and older community. We had over 160 people for an early and late show. Early show being 6, late show being 8. But they were great. Now they didn't buy a lot of merch, but they came out and we had a great time. And they were good paying shows because they were clean shows. And I can't thank the Comedy Zone enough, and I can't thank the Margaritaville people enough. But we ended up doing 3 shows. One in Hilton Head, and then 2 in Hilton Head, 1 in Panama City. They're great communities. And man, they were so much fun. They were so much fun. I enjoyed the heck. I wish I'd have got a good video. I didn't. My video messed up on the first show, but it was so much fun. So much fun. And that's why half the reason I got into this business, for the fun and making people laugh and entertaining people. That's all I've ever wanted to do. That's what I've enjoyed doing. Even back when I did it very small, I didn't do comedy, but I did other things. So, I'm living a dream, but the dream has got to pay bills. Some dreams don't, some dreams do, but this one's got to pay bills. My wife gave me two ultimatums. She was break even or make money. Right now, it's getting harder and harder. So, anyways, I know I've thought about it before. I'm repeating. I'll stop. I'll get off that one show pony. But anyways, we'll get away from that. But man, the world is kooky. The world is crazy. It's calming down, but it's also going a lot more sideways. There's all these scientists that are dying. I don't know if anybody's checked in over the last, I guess, 4 years. We've lost 12, and then we just lost. God, what was his name? He was on Ancient Aliens. I loved him. Wilcox. Wilcox. Oh God, what was his name? I had him right here, man. Super nice guy. Super nice guy. But I didn't realize how deep he had gotten into a lot of stuff. And man, he just magically got off real quick. And he was, come to find out, he was talking about propulsion, Mercury, how, Mercury and propulsion systems can work off of magnetic fields, and highly cold Mercury can make objects float and move in speeds and in ways that we've never, the only thing we can equate to is these UAPs and these Tic Tacs and everything. And he was in a lot of things, and he came out and said, and a lot of these scientists, that these 12 scientists all have said and went on record on video, even that one chick in Huntsville, I will not kill myself. I will not kill myself. I'm happy. But if something happens to me, understand I didn't do it. And if it's weird and they say it's a suicide, I didn't do it. I did not do it. He said the same thing. Every one of these scientists said the same thing. And now some of them just disappeared. A couple of them just vanished, like they walked out of their house naked or something and just vanished into the ether. And I'm going to try to find somebody to talk about this, because, man, this is some crazy, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. We are living in some crazy times, and that's why I think we need comedy to distract us, because holy cow. And I know you're saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, 11 scientists that all just vanished or committed suicide. 2 or 3 vanished. The rest of them committed suicide and said, if I ever end up dead and it says, or I'm classified as a suicide, I did not do it. That's a smoking gun, folks. I don't care what you say. That's a smoking gun, and that is wild. And I am watching this with a hawk eye and getting into this. This is some crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll get in trouble talking about it too. I don't want that. So I don't know. Screwed. But anyways, thank you. Appreciate you listening. This is a short podcast. I just wanted to come on here and thank everybody. I mean, please download, please like, please save 5 stars. I'm going to have some more interviews. We'll be talking about things like this. The scientists coming out. That's the next thing I'm going to be working on. First quarter's been crazy for comedy. I'm hoping the second quarter's going to be just good. Hey, if you want a comedian, hit me up, man. Go to andygunner.com, bug me, reach out to me. Let me know where you want me to go. We'll figure it out. Or if you want me to produce a show and come do a show for you, let's talk about that. I'll book myself. I don't need a booger. I can produce my own shows. I have all the equipment. We can talk about it, figure it out. Give me a shout. Hit me up. Let me know. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Go to some of my videos, link them, like them. I need followers. Please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube. And I appreciate you. Love you. Appreciate you. Be cool. Be happy. Be kind. Be happy as best you can. And if nothing else, try to help make others happy and help others, and just be nice. Be nice to folks. Just be nice. I know it's hard. It's hard. It's hard for me too. It's hard. But I am focused on being nicer to folks and interacting and being more positive and helpful than I ever have. And there's no reason not to be. So just be cool, be happy, laugh, have a good time, have fun. Spend the $20 and go have a good time, because you can't take your money with you, and you don't know what day your life is going to be over, and what day God calls you home. Like my buddy Matt, he didn't expect at 49 to pass away. I didn't expect him to either, and I had to have that conversation with him. And anyways, just live, have fun, be good. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I appreciate you. And have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good month. Have a good quarter. I'll be back shortly. We'll be talking about the scientists and some craziness and good things. So I'll get off the comedy bandwagon at some point. I'm kidding. No, I'm still going to talk about it because I love comedy. Thanks again. Appreciate you. Follow, like, down.